Okay, so I think we are live. So welcome to this behind the scenes event. It's different than what I usually do. Uh, okay, so I think we are live. So welcome to, there we go. So for those of you who do not know me, I am Stacy Paulson, and I'm looking at myself there. Okay, so I'm Stacy Paulson, and I am a mom of six amazing children. I just turned 50 last September, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I also have my MBA. I'm a certified health coach, CrossFit coach. I love to learn and help other people to live healthy and thriving lives. So I see some people hopping on the Zoom. For those who are on Zoom, we are on live on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, Bethany. And so depending on who shows up, this will look different. So a lot of those are showing up on YouTube. So welcome for those who are there. And those who keep hopping in. Bethany, if you take care of the chat, that'd be awesome. If we have anything with that. So I want to share with you what we've been doing. So we have a group, mostly women, who are doing a 14-day wellness challenge. And in this challenge, we have been just focusing on some very foundational pieces of health and wellness, which often are overlooked until we have health challenges. And then it's really hard to kind of go back and start putting in place some of those things. So some of the foundational pieces to our health, and they seem really contrite. Like when you think about, eat better, exercise, move your body, like take care of your mindset, your beliefs, those kind of things, relationships, your connections. But these truly are foundational to our lives, our happiness, our physical, emotional well-being. And so that's what the 14-day challenge has been about, is getting in place habits that help to fuel our cells, to help as far as cellular building blocks, right? Getting those molecules, those micronutrients into our bodies that will help build healthy cells, which builds all aspects of our physical bodies. And then moving our body, which our bodies were made to move. And if we don't move it, we lose it. That's where you'll see a lot of people as they age, that you see a lot of the muscle mass and their stamina just dissipate as they move less and less, right? And that, like an example of that is my mother-in-law, who, like, she was always active, had seven kids, going, was a school teacher, really busy doing those things. And then she had knee replacement surgery, which caused some issues with moving, right? And then that just spiraled downward, where if you're not moving, those muscles are starting um, to go away. And especially as we age, even if we continue doing the same type of workouts as we age, we hit a certain point where our muscle starts to atrophy, like it just naturally does. So we have to really focus on that. So getting the habits in place now, especially if you're feeling well, having those habits in place are so vital. And then also filling our minds with things that are positive and reinforcing, just thinking about like social media and what's going on in the world. It could be in your home or in your neighborhood, in your communities. Like there's so much negative out there. Is filling yourself with positive, truthful things that support you. And then also being able to connect with people and build those relationships. So it's been a fun challenge. It was the first one that we did. We're doing our next one will be May 12th. And so would like, more people to participate, because I really feel like this is a movement. You're seeing this more and more of people trying to steer away from traditional healthcare, in the sense of, I wait till I'm sick and then I take something for it, or I have surgery or something, right? Like that's just the model of healthcare in the United States especially. But even with the trillions of dollars that we spend, we have more chronic disease, more death from uh, like cardiovascular diseases and cancers. And a lot of these are preventable. And in fact, like 80 to 90% of that's preventable. And I know we spent a lot of money during, the pandemic on certain things and pumping a lot of money in there. And we didn't even see the amount of deaths that we see every single year. And it's just become normalized from chronic disease. It's just normal. You hit a certain age, you go on some kind of medication, and then you go on multiple medications, and we just attribute it to getting older, which is just it's false. Like, we don't have to be that way, because you probably know maybe at least one person who's older and they're active and going and feeling healthy and thriving, right? And most of the times they're not doing anything crazy. They're foundationally doing things that help build their their cells. They're moving their body. They're positive people. They're getting enough sleep. They're taking care of themselves, right? So these are basics, but most people won't do them, right? So I do want to share with you and kind of a vision cast out there, the possibilities that are available, especially in the world that we're in right now, in the economy that we have, where a lot of things are really expensive. People are having challenges. You're hearing about Trump tariffs or whatever, whichever way you feel about that. But, there's lots of just different things going on in the world, in the economy, in our lives. And one of the things is this is pretty normal. Like, we have ups and we have downs. We have booming economy. We have low economy. And one of the things foundationally is if we're thinking of getting things in place that help with our income, right? And so that's oftentimes why we get education, we learn more, we network, so that we have available to us people and connections if maybe you have a job and you get laid off, or you want to move into something new, you start a business. Like, networking is great connection. So these are some foundational things that help us to build income and kind of hedge against, like, there's going to be downturns. There always are. And so I want to share with you kind of my experience with creating business. And then what I love now is with technology, we have so many things accessible to us, where before we had to go to college to learn certain things. It was only accessible to certain people because you had a certain professor that might teach you something, right? But now they're estimating like probably over 80% of the things that we would learn in college, we can learn online for free now. And we can pick and choose, and we can choose our path. And even if, we've graduated and we have a degree, like, that continuing education, like, it's just at our fingertips. And if you just realize, especially for those who didn't grow up like older, right? We didn't have the internet. We didn't have cell phones. And so as these things have kind of come in place, and looking in hindsight, how amazing and pivotal they have been for the growth that we can experience. And, like, there's really no excuse for us to not have success financially, because we have so many things available to us. And it really excites me, right? So it's trying to match what your interests are, what you're trying to accomplish with what's available. And so for those who are open to creating income that is flexible in the sense of how much time you put in, but also flexible as far as location and how you do it, that is not dictated by, a job. I always just kind of think of sitting in a cubicle, or somebody's telling you these are the parameters of how you get paid, and you show up and you do that work and then you get paid. And if you want to get paid more, you either have to work more hours or get a different job or ask for a raise, right? So it's something totally different than that we have more control over what our income possibilities are. And so I did grow up in a home where neither of my parents had graduated from college. My dad went into the military, into the Marines, and was in Vietnam. And my mom, she was an immigrant from East Germany, had escaped East Germany when she was 5 and came to America. And she graduated from high school, and they got married when she was, I don't know, like 19, 20-ish, right? So that was kind of the extent of my family history. Like, nobody before me had graduated from college, and grew up in this small town. And I just really felt like I need to go to college. What do I need to do? Like, we can afford it. When I graduated from high school, my gift was, I think, probably like $800 in a savings account, right? That's what I had to my name. And so I had to figure out, like, how am I going to do this? And just remember working really hard and getting some scholarships and working through school and having this prompting to go into business. Like, I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anyone in business. I was a worker. I was a really good worker. Like, I could get a job. I could then work my way up in that job and then go get another job and get paid higher. And I just kind of like worked my way up into different things, and I had no problem working. But I had this prompting to go to school and get a degree in business. And then I had a job offer from Ford Motor Company and worked there for a bit. And I knew that was not for me. Like corporate, sitting in a box, doing the same thing for this big corporation where you felt like you were no one in anything. Working on a little small piece of the puzzle, and it wasn't like very mission driven for me. Like I don't really care about cars. Decided to leave that and take a job with a merger and acquisition company where I was a marketing manager. It sounds way more cool than it actually was. But again, it was kind of in a cubicle, but this was a small business. So the owner was amazing. Like that was my first exposure to being an entrepreneur because he was a serial entrepreneur and the internet was coming in play and he was learning how to buy and sell companies online, which was like a novel thing. And so I was the marketing manager for that and trying to figure all of that out. And it was awesome because once I had my first baby, he allowed me to work from home. So back in like 2000, that's so long ago. It's 1999, 2000. That was a new thing. Like a lot of people work from home. That was a brand new thing. So it was such a blessing for me to be able to take care of my newborn and work from home and just kind of go in the office here and there. And I loved it. And after having that experience and thinking like there's no way on this planet I could like leave my kids to go work in a box for somebody else's dream. Like I couldn't even fathom that. And then I was laid off after 9/11. And so we were building a house and it was kind of a struggle where we had this commitment and my husband was still finishing up school and had this commitment um to this house that we were building. It was a lot of stress. And I remember doing lots of interviews and having possibilities at different places. And it just made me sick to my stomach thinking, oh, I'm jumping into that. If I jump into that, how will I get out of that? Right. Like I just had this pit in my stomach. And I remember taking a job as a marketing professor, but it was night classes. So my husband and I would just kind of switch, but it was not a life, right? It was like a temporary step trying to figure out what we were going to do. And then he graduated and was hired and we moved to this small town and it allowed me to not have to work, right? Like we had enough income coming in, but we weren't necessarily getting ahead, but I didn't have to work just to survive. And at that same time, I had a very divinely inspired um, business come kind of just fall in my lap. So my sister-in-law had given me a sewing machine and it was older and I didn't really know how to use it, like how to tune it, whatever. If you know how to sew, like I minimally knew how to sew, but I wanted to just sew a few things, right? Straight lines. But I didn't want to try to figure it out or get it taken care of. And so I thought, well, I wonder if I could sell this. So eBay was just coming around. And so I decided, well, what if I could sell this and make a little bit of money from that and then go buy like a cheap one? Because this was an expensive Singer nice sewing machine, but it's way over like the skill level that I had or what I needed. So I ended up selling it and buying a cheap sewing machine that worked just fine. And then at the same time, I was scrapbooking was like the rage. So I was scrapbooking my baby's photos and stuff. And at that time I had two and I was pregnant with number three. And I was discovering that I could buy those supplies online in bulk and then use what I wanted from that bulk purchase and then sell the rest, right? And it would pay for my scrapbooking addiction. And that led into seeing like, oh, wait, I could purchase this bigger thing and this bigger thing. And I started this business, not even really knowing that that's what I was doing. It was just like I wanted to fund kind of my hobby. And that turned into this business that bloomed. I was buying full on scrapbook store inventories that were going out of business and I was liquidating it online. I had people contacting me from who knows where. I had some lady who shipped all of her supplies from Texas to me. There was one, I took a U-Haul because somebody was just like, you just take it. If you can get here to Missouri and take this, like you can have it. So this was going on and it was like blowing my mind that, oh gosh, I am making a lot of money. And we were getting so many supplies that like our little house and the little garage or shed that we had, it was all full. My daughter's bedroom where she was a newborn to the crib was just like this little thing between all these boxes to go get her out of the crib. So we like, oh, we were kind of moving out of this. And so we ended up building a brand new house and paying it off within 3 years from this business that was going on. So pretty crazy. So number one, like following those inspired thoughts and feelings that you get has always paid off for me. Um, sometimes you wonder, was that just me? But when it's like out there beside, beyond what I would do, I usually put like more thinking into that. In fact, as I got started with this, one of the things that had come to me was this huge lot of inventory, and I was going to get it for pennies on the dollar, but it was $17,000. I didn't have $17,000. And, and I'm like, I'm not taking out a loan for this. I don't know, right? Like, what should I do? And at that time, you could get credit cards for 0% interest for so long. I think it was like 6 months or something. So like, oh, what if I put it on a credit card? Could I pay this off within 6 months? And I was so stressed because I am not into debt. Like because I saw my parents and how their lives were impacted by debt. And so I was really fearful of debt. And so that was our goal. We were just getting, I had minimal student loans and then got our car paid off. And then we got, we're getting our house paid off. We're paying extra and stuff and just staying out of debt, just doing what we could. So I'm like, $17,000. This is crazy. I prayed about it. And I thought, and I just felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm like, this is so not me. This is not like this is crazy. I was super stressed about it. But remember getting all of this inventory and kind of going through and packaging this stuff and it was such a deal. But then I had to get to work, right? I had to get to work to get that paid off. And here's the thing. Within a month, it was paid off. Within a month, that was paid off. So I knew I had something good that was going on and life was really good. We were getting into a place where everything was paid off, 100% debt free. And then we're just saving up and like, just kind of, when you're on a mission and you have such a focus and then you fulfill that, you can kind of feel a little bit lost, like, okay, now what? Now what? Right. And so my mind was never bigger than like, just get some debt paid off and live within your means. Like that was it. That was my whole life. I never had like super big dreams or goals or anything like that. And then my health started to have some issues because I was not putting in place some of the foundational pieces that would keep me healthy, right? So I was like 33, 34, and I was having miscarriages, chronic migraines, I just low energy. My joints had pain. It was just, there was something going on that was wrong. And I would see a doctor and I'd get a prescription for my sinus infections and it just kept going on and off, right? Like they go away and then they come back, go away, go back, come back. I was having tooth infections. So I was having root canals and just all these like random things. And I had no idea. And it wasn't until one of my friends, like Elise, had shared some essential oils with me. Back then, 15 years ago, I had never heard of them. But we were flying kites in a hayfield and I started having allergies. And she said, do you want to try this essential oil? And so I did, just put a couple of drops, rubbed it on my nose. And in minutes, those allergies were gone. Now, I didn't think that essential oils like, that was going to solve all my health problems. My thought was like, oh, Stacy, what you're doing isn't working. And you just found a solution for allergies, which you didn't ever know about. You always just took medication. So what if there's something else out there that is a solution to these other things? And it's not just taking more medication. And so that was a novel idea for me. Like right now, like a lot of people have come to that same conclusion. But for me, 15 years ago, I just grew up with traditional healthcare, traditional eating, like it was all just very traditional. But I also remember watching my grandparents and they would pull out their prescriptions and it was all timed and all mapped out, right? Like you take this one here and then this one there, and you can't take this one with food and you have to take this one with food and you can't take this one with this one. And this one is helping with the side effect of this. Like I remember seeing that pill box sitting there for both my grandma and my grandpa. And then I had on my other side, my mom's side, which is German, and we're way more natural. And my Oma, she lived to like, I think 90 or something, right? So I'm kind of seeing these two going on. And then, so having that experience with essential oils just opened me to, oh, there's probably things I don't know. And guess what? We had this really cool thing called the internet, which was really coming online and more people were starting to post and put blogs and different, like we take for granted what we have access to. But back then it was just, it was starting to get out there, right? It was just starting to get out there. And so I just remember sitting down, Googling like essential oils. And then I was Googling like some of my different symptoms and what are different things that could cause this or could help with this. And I was finding like some really crazy things, but some also like eye-opening things. And a lot of it also came back to nutrition. It came back to like, oh, what I feed my cells might make a difference. Like it all makes sense, but how many of us actually choose food or choose those things based on like, oh, I'm building my body. This thing is a temple. I'm going to take care of it. Just we take better care of our stuff than we often do our bodies, right? We take care of our clothes or this piece of jewelry, your car, or house, right? Better than we do our bodies. And we only have one. We only have one. And so it was just a shift. But then it started getting a little complicated because you're trying to learn, like, well, what is actually good for my body? And especially now where there's so much available online and you're just like, is that true? Is that real? Is somebody just trying to sell me something? Like, so then it can get really confusing. And so that's when just coming back down to some basic things that we've known. So for me with essential oils, knowing they have been used for thousands of years, and yes, there's different qualities of essential oils, but basically if they're coming from plants and they're pure and they're potent, that they have been helpful for people's bodies thousands of years. I'm like, okay, I kind of trust that. Like I will use that and I'm going to learn how to use those better and more effectively. And really in the past 15 years, we've only gone to the doctor for sick care like a handful of times. My kids haven't been on antibiotics. We've just been able to figure out solutions that we didn't need that. Now I'm open in those rare extreme cases if we need something, right? Because that's what I feel like pharmaceuticals and medications are meant for, right? They're not my go-to, and it served us really, really well. Uh, so I'm exploring these things, and then I'm also learning about, oh, I could supplement, right? Because I was trying to just change my diet. I was just trying to consume and learn how to make meals and make it fit into my busy life as a mom and as an entrepreneur. And that was hard, right? And then you're feeling like, oh, I'm giving my kids garbage and I stuck, like I stink, right? And all of this stuff. And so one of the things that I learned was that supplements can make my life so much easier. But again, there's a whole world out there of like, are you getting what is good for you? Is it quality? Does it have mercury in it? Does it have like actual things in it that are going to help me? Like that can be confusing. And again, that's where there's different qualities of things. I moved towards doTERRA because I knew their essential oils were top quality, right? And then they had some supplements that I tested out. They had a 30-day money back guarantee. And honestly, that's the only reason why I tried them, because I was super cheap woman, right? Like I used to live on like nothing. I know how to make meals for super duper darn cheap, live off of food storage, all of that stuff. And so to pay kind of a premium for supplements was not in my normal book of things to do. But I remember feeling so miserable and knowing that I just knew sometimes you can just have that knowing that I needed nutrients. I needed things for my body that I wasn't getting in my food. And so that's where I started taking their lifelong vitality supplement. And within 30 days, I was out of the supply. And then I didn't get any more. Within a few days, I realized that I had started having more energy. And some of the pain that I was experiencing was going away. And I was working on the sinus infections and stuff with the oils, some amazing oils for that. But I just remember like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm going downhill now. And then I bought some more. And again, I started feeling like I was moving forward. And so the chronic sinus infections, the migraines, the mood up and down, low mood, low energy, all of that went away. It was about 60-ish days. I was expecting baby number 5, had healthy baby number 5, and then had healthy baby number 6. But I saw the power of nourishing our bodies and also the power of not making it hard, because sometimes we will choose hard and then it's not sustainable. That's oftentimes what we do with moving our body, that we think the exercise and all that has to be complicated and hard, and then we go do it and then we get burned out and we can't sustain it. And so then we feel like I'm terrible at this. I'm just not good at that and whatever, right? So you'll have the spiral down. But what I realized was with supplements, it made it easy to get what I needed. And then as I started feeling better, then I felt like cooking more or felt like learning that new skill, felt like making some other shifts in my lifestyle, that I had the energy for the emotional, mental energy, physical capacity to do. And so there was this beautiful spiral up of like, I'm feeling better. And then at the same time, we were at a point where we had moved from our small town in Utah to California, and income was tight again. Like, oh my gosh, like we just worked so hard to get out of debt, and we're moving to California where holy smack dap, like everything is so stinking expensive. And I don't know how people are living here or want to live here because it's so expensive. Even if we had paid off our tax bill, our property taxes was more than our mortgage in Utah. I was like, what in the world? Anyway, so it felt like we were back in this spot of, my husband has this good job and it helps provide for the needs, but we're never going to get ahead, right? And we had to eliminate some of the things that we were doing. Like, we didn't really take vacations before that, but we started taking vacations. Like, oh, we're not going to be able to. I guess California's our vacation, and my kids weren't able to do piano, and I just kind of felt stuck. I don't know if you've ever felt kind of stuck and like, ugh, this is not where I want to be, and I don't know the answer of how to get out. But I just kept thinking like, but I'm capable. I have a degree in business. I've run a business, which I had let go of because of my health and with moving and shifts in like scrapbooking online or whatever. Like things shift, right? So I felt like I'm back in this place, but I'm capable. And at that moment, when I was open to something, somehow I came online to a business overview about doTERRA. And it was actually Seth Resume. Some people know him, and he was just talking about how there's another way to create income as with doTERRA, where I was never open to that because it was network marketing. And one of my classes, I had a professor, it was my only female professor at BYU, and she talked about because we were talking about marketing or something, and she was talking about how bad network marketing or MLMs were. I was like, oh yeah, they're bad. She didn't ever explain why she thought they were bad, but she just said they were bad. So I just took on that belief that she had. Maybe she had a bad experience. I have no idea, but I just took that belief on. So I had been approached by different people in my little small town before, and Elise, who shared oils with me, she had mentioned that there is a way to create income, and I was like, no, that's not me, right? Like I'm into real business. And so that's just kind of, that was my belief, right? And then when I saw Seth and he was talking about doTERRA in a different way, and he was talking about how you can create what's called residual income, which is funny because I went to business school, but nobody ever talked about residual income. It was mostly about how can you get a really good high paying job. And so the idea with residual income is that you can create something that you can get paid for over and over again. So it's not just trading your time for money. So I do an hour of work, I get paid for that hour of work, or I work on this project and I get paid for that project, or I sell this thing and I get paid for it, right? So that's earned income. But he was talking about residual income and how we can create a system that, with the story that he shared, was with a pipeline of a lady who would haul buckets of water from the village, from the water source to the village, and she'd get paid for it. And so just hauling more buckets, she could make more money. But then she had this bright idea of like, what if I built a pipeline? Kind of like use technology because we have technology. She built a pipeline. But it took her time. It took her a little money and a little effort. But over time, when she turned that spigot, she had residual income because that water just kept flowing. And that was like a light bulb moment for me. Like, oh, there are people who make income in a different way. Like I had no idea. I just grew up from like small town, parents working, all that. I go to college, I get a job. Like that's all I knew. And so my first exposure to this was like just mind blowing. And then he went through and he talked about doTERRA and their compensation plan and how it worked. He just went through it really simply. And he talked about how, if you help like 3 people to do these, start using natural products, help them with their health, and then they can share that with others. And it just kind of trickled down. And he just did some math. And he told me, like, if you did this and did this and did this, like you could make over $100,000 a month. I was like, what? I was like, no way. This is such a scheme. Now I can see why people think MLM, right? Like, whatever. But then I pulled out my calculator, which I am like math Sterling scholar. Like I know my math, and I pulled it out and I was just calculating according to the compensation plan, what it would take, like according to his example. And it was true. It was right. It was just math. Like the compensation plan that they had was just math. And so I remember after watching that, waiting for my husband to come home so I could go work out at LA Fitness. And as I was pedaling away on the bike, I had this epiphany. It was like, holy cow, this is an answer to your prayers now that you're open to it, because I could create income helping people with their health, but I could do it like in my time schedule, right? Because I wanted to be home and available for my kids, have flexibility with, their schedules, but I also wanted to contribute. Like I had so much to contribute, but I wanted it to be on my schedule, right? So it was like everything came together. And then also seeing how I had put so much work and effort into my first business, yet when I shut the doors, like there was no more income coming. Like that was it. right? It was gone. But this would be something I could work, help people, make an impact. And even when I wasn't working, like, working, I could still get paid over and over and again. And how that works is as you help people learn how to use these products and they get results, just like I got results, like our lives has changed. We do things differently. For generations now, we will do things differently for our health. As you help people do that, they continue to purchase those products over and over and over again. And you get paid for that work, for introducing them, supporting them. But then here's the really cool thing. And this is where the multi-level marketing comes in, is because you get paid on multiple levels of people. So in traditional sales, you get paid for a sell that is like you did, right? So I sold something to my friend, I helped them get this thing, I got a commission or affiliate commission, whatever that is. I got paid for that person that I introduced. But the cool thing with multi-level marketing is that as you help other people learn how to do that and support them, you don't just get paid on the sales that you make, but you get a small part of that commission on the sales that other people make in your organization. And the reason why is because you introduce them and you help support. And so you're reaping the benefits of that. So I started just working. Okay, I'm gonna share, I'm gonna teach people, I'm gonna show them what I'm doing, and let's see how this goes. Like I had no idea. I'd never ever been to a class. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I wanted to share and I was willing to figure it out. And so I remember inviting people, like I'm new in California. I don't know a whole lot of people, but inviting some neighbors and some people from my church. And I think 13 people showed up. It was like the biggest class like probably to this day that I've ever had. And nobody purchased anything, but I followed up with them, like helping them to learn about the oils and the products and what were their health challenges and trying to help them to solve those. And all of those people have purchased. And probably a handful of those also then created their own business with doTERRA. A nurse, a pharmaceutical sales rep. There was a teacher, a couple of teachers, like people who had jobs in other areas, but saw the value of this and also that they could have a little more freedom in their schedule, right? So it just kind of trickled from there. Within 6 months, I was earning enough to feel satisfied, but then I always had that in my mind, like, oh my gosh, but the sky's the limit. And the more people that I help, the more income that I make, it's just like this virtuous cycle. Given you shall receive. And that was a thought. And then things were going really well, really well. And then again, I had this prompting, oh, you need to go back and get your MBA. Like, what the heck? But things are great. Like life is good. Sunny California. We make more now. We can afford things. But then decided to go back and get my MBA. And when you're a full-time MBA student, you actually commit to not working. And so I had minimal commitment within my doTERRA business because of this commitment that I made, right? Like I was here and there sharing and doing, trying to help support the team as much as I could. And what's funny is the paycheck kept coming in. Had I been at a job and said, hey, I'm going to get my MBA, the paycheck would have stopped. And for those 2 years that I was in the MBA program, my income continued to come in. And those were some really good years. It was like 2016 to 2018, like the economy is going really well, but my income was continuing to increase during that time when I wasn't doing a whole lot, right? Because people were sharing, they were experiencing the benefits of these products in their lives, and they were sharing it with people. And it became an international business, even though I didn't go anywhere international to share this, like it became an international business. And it had created that time freedom, financial freedom. And so it's just a different concept of thinking. And so income made simple. What is that? Well, one of the easiest ways to tap into something like this is to tap into a successful system that's already in place, that's been vetted. That's why doTERRA is such a good bet for people, because it's been vetted, right? It's not brand new. They have products that come sourced all over the world, which is good because that creates, if there's a downturn somewhere, there's, you can offset that. If you can't get a certain oil here, you might be able to get it somewhere else. It can be international. So maybe one economy is thriving and something else is not. So it can offset some of those risks that are involved, but you have a system that's already in place where people already have kind of trailed or blazed the trail, right? And mapped out kind of these things that have worked or haven't worked. And here's a great way to be able to build your business. And you don't have to come up with the product and have to be able to source it and package it and ship it and do all the stuff that, like traditional businesses do. But a lot of people will try to do that. They'll do their little Etsy thing and they'll do and there's nothing dishonorable about that. There's just another way of creating income. But if you want something that creates a little more time freedom and has been vetted, doTERRA is the network marketing company that pays the most in their commissions. It's 48%, goes back to wellness advocates. And I love that. And so whether people are just trying to create an extra $500 a month or $2,000 a month, there's a way to do that. And especially with our 14-day challenge. So basically what this looks like, and I have slides, but I'm not going to use my slides. But basically what this looks like is as you help other people to start focusing on their health, on these foundational pieces. And one of the things that they use in this 14-day challenge is it's called VMG, but this is your vitamins, minerals, and greens. Makes it really easy. You just put it in some water, mix it up, and drink it, right? So you kind of check the box of, okay, I've got my vitamins and my minerals and greens for the day. I don't have to be like, let's see, I need to make sure I'm putting spinach in everything, and then I need to make sure I'm getting enough magnesium, and then like, I just don't do that, right? It's not going to happen. But I can take this, and then I can also there's an omega, because most of us are depleted in omega-3s. So you take that, and then there's a probiotic, which is one of the best on the market. But those are things that foundationally our bodies need to help support our cells. So people are taking this through this 14-day challenge, and there's a money back guarantee. If somebody doesn't experience a difference, they can get their money back. But they take that, and then we have some small micro commitments of movement. And then also there's a mindset video that you watch. So people are doing this during this 14-day challenge, right? And experiencing differences in they're not dramatic, right? But they're seeing that they're staying committed to something small. And the idea is starting this is just a catalyst. It's just something small. It's like the Atomic Habits. If you read the Atomic Habits books, like with an atomic bomb, it starts with something really, really small. Like those atoms are teeny, but there's explosive power in there. And it's the same thing with these foundational habits that as you put them in place in your life and you're consistent with them over time, you see exponential things happen. You start stacking other habits, you start maximizing those habits, you feel better, you look better, you're eating better, your relationships are better. There's just all of these things that come in place when you start with something small and sustainable and you're doing it in a group. So that's what we do in this. But here's the compensation side of it. So basically, all you have to do to get to earning $2,000 a month, 200,000, you can keep going because there are people who earn that, $2,000 a month. There are people who are focused on 500. I'm going to talk about $2,000 a month because with my age and whatever, 500 is nice, but like with 6 kids, 2 daughter-in-laws, a grandson, and whoever knows what else is going to happen, right? Like 2,000 is life-changing for most people, for sure. So if you were to have 4 other people who joined you in the challenge, so you get your wellness package, commit to taking that, you have 4 other buddies, friends, family members. Think of people who are struggling with their health, who might have tried getting into shape, doing a workout, just haven't been consistent. Just people that you love, you want to lock arms with. Or it could be people who are already in shape, who are already doing this well. Like, hey, come try this out with me. Because this could be a great business opportunity, especially for those who are already doing well in their life, that they have these habits in place. But this gives you a system to create income, mentoring and guiding and helping other people to put in place the things that you're already doing. So 4 other people, month 1, it's you, 4 other people. You have this little team of 5. Do the 14-day challenge. And then month 2, get 4 more people to do that challenge with you. And the first 4 people, at least 3 of them need to get 4 people, okay? Once you have that in place for month 2, you will make $500 plus a month, according to doTERRA's compensation plan, which is just math. right? This is just what they will pay you. If people are purchasing the wellness bundle, they're doing this month 1, and then month 2, you have 4 new people with you, and you're at least 3 people have their little teams, $500. Then you're just going to duplicate that 1 more month, right? And even that 3rd month, you don't have to find 4 more people, but you can. But you're helping your 3 people, at least 3 people, those first from that first month, get to their 500. That's it. When you do that, following this plan, the compensation plan will pay you at least $2,000. And what happens is as these people start integrating this into their life, it becomes a habit. Like it would be really hard for me not to use these because I know how hard it is to get the nutrients from just food. And then if I'm trying to like mishmash it together, somebody else's supplements like here and there, and I'm trying to save money, and then I don't know if they're actually very good for me. Like all of the science and testing and all of this, as far as these have been done, and I trust that. You could do it that way. But this tapping into that system, those people start using these products and they will never go away from it. That's the thing. Because when people start seeing a difference, you have a really hard time shifting back to feeling like crap. You really do. You just have a hard time shifting back to like, oh, nutrition is complicated. It's hard to shift back from that after you've experienced it. So then it becomes sustainable. That income, that $2,000 becomes residual because you have this in place. You have these people who are receiving the benefits of taking these products. It's helping them prevent so many things. They're being proactive in their health instead of being reactive in their health. And that is a movement that people are moving towards. They want that. So as that's in place, the $2,000 is sustainable. And then from there, like you can grow and do more if you want, right? Or not, but you want to keep your pipeline flowing. You want to, make sure that that's in place. So that's it. And sometimes we overcomplicate it and we think, well, I'm not a salesperson. Great, because I'm not a salesperson, but I can help people and I can share things that I truly believe are helpful. So if you're not there, you don't know that these things are helpful. Number 1, try it yourself. 30-day money back guarantee. Like, why not try it? You have nothing to lose from trying that. People can come join the 14-day challenge for free. They don't even have to purchase anything to do it. So they can experience the challenge without the wellness bundle and see how it's helping them to implement these habits into their life. But they're also going to see that they're missing out on something that's super simple and easy to do. So income made simple. For those of you, like, I know, Bethany, you're here. Can you, I just come on, shout it out for Bethany. Maybe you can unmute. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Ask you, as you think about this pattern, and I know that you are working on building this yourself, why? What's something that, or the why are you doing this? Why are you, because Bethany is an educator, she's a musician, just amazing musician. She's also a life coach, like just has so many things going for her. But why would you want to create this income with doTERRA?
I mean, you laid it out so well, just being married to a teacher and wanting to expand beyond the month to month worry if you're going to be able to pay the bills. And I just love how doTERRA has simplified the whole thing and brought in these products that are so mainstream, right? I was doing wheatgrass shots before doTERRA came out with the greens, and they were so much better tasting. And now we've got the VMG, so I don't even have to swallow pills. It's the vitamins and the greens together, and it tastes like pineapples, and I'll sip on it all day long. So it's an easier sell than maybe in the beginning when it was just a kit of essential oils and you didn't know how you were going to, switch from regular pharmaceuticals and over the counters to taking care of your health. Although I enjoyed that. That was super fun to learn to do that way. But I feel like this is a more accessible way to talk to people about just becoming healthy in a way that's genuinely preventative. You said something the other day that I thought was genius about how in medical care, they call preventative medicine going for certain tests. to make sure you don't have something at whatever age. And we start accumulating whatever disease we're going to have in 20 years with whatever habits we have right now. And I just think that's the most amazing way that we can impact people's lives. I'm almost 50 and I swear I have better energy, better immune system than I did in my 20s. And I love what you said about how when you start feeling good, you don't want to go back to feeling bad. And I did that for a while with the original vitamins. There were times that I just kind of let it fizzle and I didn't take them. And I was like annoyingly tired and grumpy. And I was like, I can't believe they make this much of a difference. And I would feel the difference every single day when I took them. And so then it was like, okay, clearly this is the thing I need to be doing for the rest of my life. And I don't have any qualms about it. It's not like being on some random drug. And I mean, there's a place for that, right? Like there's some things that require more acute medical attention. But when we have the tools to just become healthy on our own and energetic and show people what a well-lived life looks like into our old age, what a gift. So that's my commercial. I could talk all day about financial struggles and why I need to do something different, right, than trading time for money. I think everybody understands that there's a limit to what you can do. And I'm a mom juggling my kids and their schedules, and I don't have that many hours. So
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And I think that that's where most people are at, right? Like they have needs for income and a desire for that, but then also have some things that might be holding them back from doing it. So how can we overcome some of those challenges, whether that's the time restrictions, whether that's I don't know enough, or I don't have a system, or I don't have this bright idea for business, right? Like that's why I love the doTERRA has so many, it breaks down a lot of those barriers. And especially now with these products, like you're saying, they're mainstream. So most people, and they're even younger generations, they say it's like Gen Z are the ones that are like most of them are taking some type of supplement. And it's more preventative, right? It's not like they're taking some statin, right? So they're open to it more and more. And then we have generation like Gen Z millennials who want to create income and want to have flexibility in their schedules and want to be able to travel and still create income. And it just meets so many of those desires that people have, but then it lays it out in a system so I don't have to create it myself, right? And there's so many people who are doing like side jobs, like Uber or I don't know what, like they're taking on these side jobs that will never create residual income. They're putting effort and time into that, but it will never create residual income. Yes, it can help pay some bills, but you'll still be in the same spot. And this is like, yes, it can take some time and you might have to learn a few new skills, but nothing like you do not have to go to like college to learn these skills. And of course, you might have some of them, you may not have some of them, but you don't have to be a salesperson. That's the number one thing. I think it's mostly that you have a true desire to help people that I've seen are the ones that are most successful because they overcome the whole fear of something. Because I believe that when we have fear of doing something, it's because we're turning inward. It's about us. It's about what will people think of me, or I don't have the skills, or I don't know what to say. Right? And as soon as we turn outward and like, I love that person, or I care about this thing so much that it doesn't matter. I'm just going to figure it out, right? I'm going in with helping and serving. And when we turn outward in that way, then a lot of the fears go down because one of my mentors, she talks about how fear and faith and that love, like they can't coincide. So if you're going to experience fear, then you're not going to have as much love and faith. But if you can replace that fear with faith, replace that fear with love, then it's like you're invincible, right? What could go wrong? Somebody says no, so what? Does it hurt me? And what could go right? Like their lives could be changed, just like with Elise sharing that with me with the essential oils and with Seth, who is not a tech guy, but somehow created a video and put it on YouTube. Like to this day, he's like not a tech guy. But he was willing to figure it out. Those two people have changed my life forever. And not just mine, but my family's for generations. And then think of all of the people in my doTERRA community that have been impacted from just two people stepping out, probably in discomfort, not knowing what they're doing because they cared, right? And so that's really where we can create success. And it may not, it will look different for everybody depending on what, but anyway, if you want to create extra income and you care about people and you're open to natural ways, where more and more people are, this is a great opportunity to tap into the system that's already there. It's already been vetted. The pipeline is there waiting for you to kind of build on it for yourself, right? So that now you have like a part of that pipeline coming your direction. It's there and is available. And I trust doTERRA, where there's a lot of companies that are going out of business because they haven't been super ethical or they haven't been managing their finances very well, where doTERRA is completely debt-free and they have bucket loads of money that is sitting there waiting for investments. As economy dips, they can go in and purchase things at a really discounted price. And it helps us to even grow more versus where other companies now are cutting back and struggling. Some going out of business. That I love the owners of doTERRA, and they align with so much of my beliefs and thinking as well with business, is that if this is a service, we can go out and we can do good, and that will come back to us like virtuous cycle. All right. So anything to add, Bethany, before we jump off?
I think you've covered a lot of ground. You know what, Stacy? This is a question that you have a mind for math, and I'm a musician. I understand that if I play the piano for 30 minutes, someone will hand me $25. And you explained that, we get paid at multiple levels. Do you want to spell it out? Like, how does that 500 come? Like,
yeah,
that
might help.
doTERRA pays us in a couple different ways. Because I kind of need to see, like, okay, in 1 month, what do I need to do exactly to bring in an exact amount of money?
Yep.
And you would think I would understand this by now, but it seems to elude me. So,
okay, so let's go chop in. I know I could make you.
Even for the path to 500, the path to 2000.
Yep.
The power of 3, the fast start. Like, I'm not sure if it's all.
Yes. So I want.
There's one particular way that is the focus.
The 2 focuses initially for people are right here.
Okay.
So initially, there's something called the fast start bonus. So if someone were to purchase this little kit from me, I would get paid 20%. So that's me. Level 1 means I introduced those people. So I would get paid 20% for that first purchase. And then if they make a purchase again within 60 days, I get paid that 20%, right? So that's kind of like hauling buckets, right? Concept.
Yeah.
Income.
But if somebody buys like the foundational wellness bundle, which is what, $150, something like that.
So it's like 125 point value. So you'd get 20% of that. So I would even just say $20, whatever.
Yeah.
$20. Okay?
If somebody buys a kit. Okay.
Yep. So you're going to get $20 every time somebody purchases a kit from you, which is not life-changing, right?
Right.
That I just use to reinvest in my business if I need to, like, buy something, whatever. If I need a book to learn something or whatever, right? But what's cool about it is not only do you get paid on level 1, meaning the people you sell to, but the people that you introduce. So Bethany, the people that Bethany sells to, because if I introduce Bethany and she purchased stuff and then she, has some friends and family like, hey, yeah, you want to get this bundle? Then Bethany would get 20%, but then I would get 10%. And then Elise, who introduced me, would get 5%. So that's one of the initial ways that people get paid. And people understand that because that's earned income, right? But where we really focus and where the 14-day challenge and where this wellness bundle comes in and is just phenomenal. And doTERRA has just changed their compensation plan to earn the $500 faster, because what happens is if you have, why I say 4 is that you want to have 4 people, or it doesn't really matter how many people, but you want 500 in volume on this first level of people. So that's where we create a little pod or a little team. So that's those 4 people that you introduce and partner with, and you're doing the 14-day challenge with, because it needs to be 500 total. It could be like 10 people that are doing a little bit of a purchase, right? But why we say 4 is because this is 125. So times 4, that's 500. So strategically, by having 4 people doing the challenge with you with the wellness bundle, you're meeting the requirement that doTERRA has. And this is going to get changed. Like, don't read these things. I'm just using this for like structurally looking at this. But you're going to pretend that there's 4 people here and they're all doing the challenge and they're using their bundle month 1, right? You're going to get your fast start bonus from those. So it's like over $100. But what happens is when they purchase the second month, they're doing their little bundle the next month, doTERRA is paying you a bonus. And it used to be $50, but they're going to match the 50 and it's actually going to be $100, right? And we call this the power of 3 or team bonus because you're creating these little teams here and there. And so you create your little team, you're going to get your $100 bonus for that little team right there, plus your fast start commissions. So that's, a couple $100. But then what the strategy to get to 500 is that when you help, like I said, 3 of these people, you have 4 here, but if you have 3 of these people who do that same thing and they create their little pod, their little team of people who are doing the challenge, the doTERRA, they're not going to pay you 250. They're actually going to double that. That's the 500. So you get your little team here, and then you help these people get their little teams. And when that's in place, you're going to get 500. As long as that is in place. Like if it just stayed like that, like they're using the bundle, it just stayed like that, you would be getting $500. So that is like residual income, right? But I'm kind of guessing your friends might want to earn more, or potentially, right? And so now you're just helping your 3 people to reach the 500. So you're trying to help them create the same thing you just did, right? So that this person's 3 people have 3 or have their little teams, right? So that's all it duplicates on. So once you have 3 people who are getting their $500 power of 3 team bonus, you are going to get, and why we say 2,000 is you're going to get this 1,500 bonus plus a 250 plus any of the fast starts that are coming in, right? So there's multiple layers of income that are coming in. But that's what we have people focus is working on this because structurally, very strategic in maximizing doTERRA's compensation plan. And when I say compensation plan, it's just math. It's like, okay, if you do this and this and this is what we'll pay you. So that's what has to take place in order for you to receive like these power of 3 bonuses. And that's what we're basing this 14-day challenge off of. That's how we're helping people to get to the 500 quickly. And then just duplicating that so that they can get to the 2,000-ish income quickly. And it just can duplicate from there. And there's other aspects of the compensation plan where you can earn different bonuses. And so there's different ranks. I think of these, like if you're in a corporation, there's some managers and there's this and executives, right? So there's just different levels within the organization. And this just depends on how much volume is in your organization and how it's structured that you can create these different income levels. And these are per month, right? Within about 6 months, I was to the rank of silver and then just like kept plugging along. But if you want to create that 7-figure or that 6-figure income, like if you look at the rank of, it's called platinum. Basically, if you had 3 people who were earning their $2,000 bonus, so you're just duplicating this, right? Hey, go get a team of 4 people. Let's do this wellness bundle. Okay, now you guys like introduce, get your friends. Like we're getting healthy. We're doing this together. Like just making it fun. Let's do this. Like, okay. And that just continues to duplicate in that way that once you have these 3 people are earning their 2,000, you would be the rank of platinum, earning over, like a 6-figure income, right? That's what we want to help people to get to if that's what they want. If it's just $500, like there's a formula for that. If it's 2,000, there's a formula for that. And it's just math. And so there's just some basic things like, what do we do? Well, we use the product. We share the product. We invite people to come and experience this, right? Come do this with us. Like arm in arms. Like take a look at like how you can take better care of your health, but also how can you create extra income? Just take a look. And if it feels like a good thing, like, oh, maybe I can do this, then you just support them and get them connected. We don't have to overcomplicate it. Just like with our health, we don't have to get overcomplicated. We can just kind of stick with some of those basic things. Like, okay, can I go find 4 people that might want to improve their health? Because you probably know 4 people who are already taking supplements and doing certain things and maybe want to up level, right? And so like just going out there and sharing it, and a lot of it is with conviction, right? Because if you come from a place of high belief in what you're doing and the mission that you're on and the impact this will make, people feel that. There's just something that resonates, and you will attract some of the best people because you have high belief. And if you go out like tentative and scared and you're in the place of fear and like, oh, I wonder what people think of me and I'm scared, you're going to repel a lot of people. They're not going to be attracted to that. Just like you wouldn't be attracted to that. If somebody just came timidly and asked like, hey, do you want to maybe try this thing? But if they came to you like, holy cow, Bethany, like this has been amazing. This is what it's doing for me, or this is what I hope it's going to do for me. And this is where I'm going. Like I want to have better health, but I also want to create income. Come and check this out. Come do this with me. You go in there like that and people will like, oh, well, maybe I'll do that. Let me give it a try. Right. And so that's really what it takes is more of the belief. And sometimes you just borrow that belief, but that's really as simple as it is.
Okay, so let's check my math here.
Yes, you put it
So
into like
let me.
easy
So
mode.
I have myself, and then I invite 4 friends: Amy, Beth, Christy, Darla. Okay, so ABCD, my 4 friends, that now we have 5 people total in the little team pod. And then each of them invites 4 more people. So I'm counting 21 people total for the $500 consistent monthly income. Right?
12, 13, 14, 15, 17. 17.
Well, because each of my people, there's 4 on each of their teams, but there's little
12.
pods like 5, right?
Each of your, but not each of your 4, like at least 3 of your 4.
Okay.
So I'm talking minimum, right? But if
Okay.
all 4 of them did, that's awesome.
Okay.
Then that would be the 21, including you.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So somewhere between 17 and 21. And because every time I talk to somebody, they're like, oh, I'm not a salesperson. And it's not that they have like a problem with health or sharing
Yeah.
things with their friends that, but it's always that personal thing. Like, I don't identify as a salesperson,
Good. Don't, because like who wants to be? I mean, there are a few people who want to.
Right. But when people use that as a hang up, and it's like, well, no, you really just need 21 people that are engaging in this process of getting healthy. And you're not repeatedly selling them the latest, greatest thing. They have, it's just like they've added these things to their groceries
Yep.
for the rest of their life.
And I think it even kind of going back and thinking, okay, if I were to like, I want to be a part of this book club, but I don't want to go by myself, who am I going to invite? Right. And it's like, hey, I know you love reading. You come to this book club with me, right? Like it should be awesome. It'll be great. Like that's more of what the invite is versus selling them something, right? Because if you're going to go with a pros like, hey, I am doing this, like I want to take up level my health and I also have a way of creating extra income, like at least come check it out with me, right? And I would also recommend if you're doing this, like pick those people who you'd want to partner with. Like who would be people who, yes, they want to take care of their health, but who of those people have influence with other people, right? So don't shy away from the people who are influential. I would say those would be your first people to go to. Like, and you might even go to them and be like super honest, like, hey, I was thinking of you. I am doing this 14-day challenge to get in better shape. You are already in shape. I want to partner with you, right? Like, how are you doing this? You can hold me accountable. It could be something like that. It could be like, hey, have you ever thought of, because you are like super influential, like you can make a huge difference in people's lives. Like, here's what I'm doing. Like, come check this out. There's just so many different approaches with it, but I would just kind of go back to like, how would you invite somebody to be in your little buddy group, right? Like, because that's what this is. And isn't it more fun to do these things together? And if you're if you're in like a little text thread together and you're like, okay, I just did my walk, I just did my whatever, like that is more fun. Like having that connection with that group of people. And
Oh, during this challenge, Stacey, when you posted that you have a family group chat where you guys have your personal goals and you check in with each other, I don't know anybody else who's got something like that going on in their family. I thought that was amazing.
no, but see, maybe your family's not interested, but that's why you're like, I'm gonna go choose my people. Like, come do this with me.
Right, right.
And I'm choosing you because I care about you. And I know
Yeah.
you care about your health. And how important is that for you? Like, as you age, like, wouldn't that be fun? Like, we're all growing older gracefully together. I think and to have a business with people that you love and you trust and you would want to spend time with, like, why would you not pick those people? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, good points you bring up. Yeah, but it's like people just getting over themselves because that's the big thing. And you don't have to know everything. And you can always be like, I don't know, but I can find out. Because guess what? It's 2025.
Yeah.
And it's so
He
easy to
knows.
find things out. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh,
Yes. So income made simple. Don't overcomplicate it. This is just a great tool to be able to tap into. And so we invite lots of people. Like, let's make this next one bigger and better and greater and more people like seeing results. All right. Thanks for joining me. And I never checked in on I'll check in on the comment on Facebook
yeah,
Live.
I did look at YouTube. I didn't see any comments and there weren't any in Zoom. So,
Okay. All right. Another replay. Thank you for joining me. Have a good night.